What's good, Relocation Football League fans? It's your boy Smitty. I just now realized I was muted thanks to you guys in the chat. But yeah, we are back with the RFL Live solo dolo here today. Forbes chilling with the fam and Mix. I'm assuming he was busy, but yeah, we're going live here, boys. Ready for some recaps, and we're going to also be talking about this upcoming week that we have, that is the final week of the preseason. So that is huge. Uh, Sorry for the slight delay. There was something going on with the camera and stuff like that. I'm still trying to fix this thing, and then yeah, I even still got, for some reason, half of the games didn't load in terms of putting them in. Cut out too. I don't know what just happened there. This is stuff I'm talking about. Uh, okay, let me fix that real fast. All right, we're back. No idea what's going on with that. Uh, Let me actually minimize this so I could appear a little bigger too. Ooh, that's not it. Do that. Oh man, always something, guys. Always something. Look back and the cam wasn't even like loaded up, so I don't even know what's going on with that. But we're here. Nonetheless, we're here. Let's go ahead and dive into what happened in week 2 of the RFL preseason. And then, of course, when we get into that, I'll talk about some standout players and we'll look at the week 3 schedule and all that stuff. So, first game. Um, why that's not popping up now? Oh, no wonder why. It's not brought up. Let me go ahead and highlight all these first before I have to start editing other things. All right, cool. All right, so we started out week 2 of the RFL preseason with the Miners versus the Barons. Now, this was a good look we wanted to look at, just off of the fact that the Barons, they had a great draft. Young guys, and you see one guy right here, their first overall pick, with the number three overall pick. They were able to get Nick Oquin, the sack record breaker in the college series for Ohio State, and boy was all over the place, making plays, getting pressure to the quarterback, delivering big shots, as you see there on the photo. This is a good defensive matchup. We did see Jabri Jackson look a bit rattled. I think guys are definitely expecting to see more out of him within this game. But again, you're going up against a team with this type of defense. Can't really look too far into that, as the defense of the Miners has just been top 5 in the league, at least top 10, even when they probably weren't at the top 5. Uh, for a minute, even since Coach Dunn came in. And so good defenses were displayed all game around. And at the end of the day, the Barons found a way to come out on top, won it by double digits, 20-10. I'd say the big key playmakers that stood out in this matchup was McSpradden, the backup running back, and still was going crazy too. He had a couple runs that were pretty good. Another standout key player to mention is Charlie Dotson. He was able to catch a touchdown pass from Jabri Jackson. Didn't have many yards. You can see there 3 receptions for just 21, but he did find the end zone, so that was huge. As for the Miners, they had just good defense. Really, we could talk about on both sides. As I said, a lot of key playmakers that were just making sure that the game was not easily winnable in terms of getting down the field and scoring points. Really wasn't too much to go into that, other than the defense is showing out. So great job from both defenses doing their thing. Um, and they really did a good job kind of stifling the run game a bit until a couple big plays. But yeah, not really too much I can go into with this game. Just a hard fought defensive battle where the Barons came out on top, and so they kind of surprised. With that, Miners are 0-2, but again, you can't look into that. This is the preseason, so that's all I can say about that one. Going into the second game, which came out which happened on Tuesday, the first game at 4 p.m. Eastern, we had the Bulldogs versus the Snowhawks. New coach, Josh Bartman. He was able to get a good week one preseason victory. Hard fought battle. He was able to squeeze out of that one, and then he was in another war with the Snowhawks. I mean, this game was looking like Snowhawks all the way at first, and he found a way, with his starters in for that half to kind of swing it back, and they ended up being tied up 16 all. Before the backups came in, and with the backups coming in, it was a crucial interception, as you can see here from the guy on the poster, Kyrie Sims getting an interception on, I believe that was Danny Johnson. Danny Johnson, we already know he's known to be a gunslinger in the RFL college series, and he's shown that even in the preseason. I mean, he leads all quarterbacks in passing yards in the preseason, just showing you that he's not afraid to let that thing fly. And so he was doing that the entire game, and ended up getting caught with one. We saw some great runs from Jacob McDonald, and a guy you really got to point out for this game was Seamus Davy Fitzpatrick. Seamus Davy Fitzpatrick over 100 yards rushing, and it almost seemed like every time he got touched once by the initial contactor, yeah, he broke the tackle. This guy was just running through guys. So their running back depth is something serious. We know that Wheaton can do the same, but when you got another young back behind him that's able to tote the rock and do the same, that says a lot. And another great victory by the Bulldogs. Again, since I'm doing this solo, I'm trying to just speed run through it, guys. So I'm not going to really dive in too much on certain things because I don't want to just be the main guy. Well, since I am the main guy, the only guy just sitting here talking for a minute. But just want to make sure that I'm pointing out the key contributors. Joseph Gidley looked really good in this game. The way he was distributing the football. The defense did start to click though for the Bisons and started making it tough. Big guy to point out as well, getting the pressure and getting those sacks to really flip the game for them to win was Jermaine Taylor up front at that defensive tackle position. And so another good game that was pretty defensive. Did see some explosive offensive plays, and in the end, the backups came and got it done for the Bulldogs as they pulled away 23-16. The same game, the game that followed this on the same day on Tuesday, we had the Bisons and the Steamers. The Bisons were able to get their second preseason, well, their first preseason win. They lost in the opener. I don't know why I got 2-0 up there, but they lost in the opener to the Marshalls, but bounced back with a solid victory over the Steamers. And this Bisons team is an interesting team. Again, another team that had a really good draft. Looking to see how these guys played out. We got to see Jaden Young playing with the ones for half a quarter, but all field goals, man, wasn't really anything going for the Steamers. And then as soon as Jaden Young came out, and you saw KJ Smith pretty much coming out there and was thrown to the wolves, so to speak, as the backup line just really could not keep him upright. He had trouble finding receivers down the field, and he was just frequently getting caught and sacked on plays. Tried to create plays with his legs. Sometimes he did, but that Bison's defense was relentless, especially with the addition of, again, another draft prospect name, and Ethan Marks, the sixth overall pick for the Bisons. I mean, this guy showing his worth, what they expected him to be. He got a lot of pressures, got back there, he got a sack. Bo Sanders did his thing on the ground. You also saw a great passing, not passing, but a rushing game with not just Bo Sanders, but with Tristan Price. And this is kind of what we're expecting from the Bisons, is them to have that powerful running backfield, that dual back system. Bo Sanders can do everything, but so can Tristan Price, who's more of the generic. He's the generic running back. Bo's the user, but they're both kind of the same style backs, very explosive. You don't really want to see either one of them on the field. And so this Bison's offense looking electric. You got to see Torres look really good. He didn't have a passing touchdown, but he also didn't turn the football over, and he ran one in to score the first touchdown of the game. So the Bisons had a really good showing. Steamers, again, a tough loss, but we saw some great things out of Jaden Young as well. And so looking to see more. Really can't say too much about the Steamers in this game because of the way they lost with just 9 points on the board. But their defense, it was just average. Again, not really too much that I could say off of that look. But the Bisons got the job done, and those were the key players that really stood out in the few that I was able to call out there for the Steamers. And so with those live games to start off the week, we go into the premieres, and we had the Pioneers get a victory over the Crusaders. This was a nice, solid, sound win for the Pioneers as well. He's gracing the poster just like his other counterpart from Florida, who was a rookie getting drafted this year in the first round, Manny Rojas, uh, getting a sack, making some plays there for the Pioneers, and they look really good. We talked about this last podcast when I had Forbes on, and Forbes actually brought it up first, where he said, I'm liking how Kyle Bain is looking with the Pioneers. I think that Kyle Bain deserves a shot to really lead this offense. And so, with that being said, I actually went with Kyle Bain with the ones to see how he would look, and he looked really good. They had Javier Santana finish things off for the Pioneers. He did lead them to a touchdown, but Kyle Bain looked really well. Just to even talk about that for what's coming up this upcoming week, um, I will have Javier Santana with the ones for 3 quarters. I want to see what he looks like with the ones for that a long amount of time in comparison to Kyle Bain. One of the big issues, I spoke on that is, there was no reloads earned during the off season. A good thing he wasn't at least negative, and he's already got the height kind of working against him. I know, most, he doesn't think the height's a thing, but it is a thing in Madden. And you know, I just want to see, can he still lead this offense, and is he serious about it? And so Kyle Bain is definitely pushing him for that spot. He is the higher rated overall quarterback, but again, at the same time, he is not the same age. He is older. He's 27. But that is a few years with Kyle Bain that you could try to do. But, that still even gives time, depending on what happens, on what Javier Santana might be able to do, because he might be able to just leave. Oh, well, not leave, but if it doesn't work out for him this season, he's got to sit the bench and have Kyle Bain take over for a little bit. That gives him time to get back on track, earn his reloads, put in the work, and show that he's that guy. So, yeah, 35-17 victory was great. Ben Wakefield and the guys that came out, they looked pretty good. Once the backups came in, it was just really more of a separation. Um, and yeah, I just really liked how Kyle Bain looked. We saw Zach Tank look really good as well, running the rock. But a big shout out to the backup generic running back though, Bryce Witherspoon. I don't think a lot of people was talked about him since Zach Tank has was drafted here, because obviously he's going to be the starting main back. But you can have, and you really want to have, a 1-2 punch. So you got the power and explosiveness from Zach Tank, but the speed, catching out the backfield, the creating plays, the gadget type running back is Bryce Witherspoon. He had a 97-yard touchdown run in that game, and boy, he looked electric. So that backfield's about to look crazy. The Pioneers' offense for a while has been looking crazy, and the defense is starting to really shape up. But honestly, it's always been more of a defensive team. They just looking to try to put it together and try to make their first playoff appearance this year. Missed it by a game, man, just last season. But a great win here. They were able to get on the road in Los Angeles against those Crusaders. Going into the same game at 4 p.m. Eastern, we had the Gunners versus the Aviators. And all I can say is Abraham Powers was a dog, man. 4 total touchdowns for the rookie out of Penn State. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, almost 250 rushing. He had 243 and 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving. So 4 total touchdowns for the rookie. And then even before that, Ronnie Nickens. This is a running back that I think, when you're looking at the last couple of years, really since they had that season 7 great season, Ronnie Nickens, the last 2 seasons, just hasn't looked himself. But it looks like this is the Madden where, it really plays to his skill sets. And I really think that he's going to be an impactful player running the rock this year. And then you also got a great backup running back in JR Jr. Right behind him. But, you know, what does that say for Powers? Is he going to be able to touch the field? He might get some situations, he might get opportunities, especially after that performance. But at the same time, it was against the Aviators. The Aviators are the lowest rated team in the RFL. So that's a little bit, you got to take that performance with a grain of salt. But I still think a dude who rushes for almost 250 yards 3 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. I mean, that's still an amazing performance. You got to take that into consideration. And Ray Jr., he's 28. So Powers could be the future back. You never know. We'll see how development goes for him. KC Robinson, the offense, they just really couldn't get too much going. Their defense suffered a lot. They could not stop the run. 6 total rushing touchdowns between the two backs in Powers and Ronnie Nickens. So that really destroyed them. Hopefully they can try to figure out a way to patch that up. Um, but 28 total points scored towards the end there. We saw Kingston Kinney score the first touchdown of the game. He had a nice little outside run um, to the end zone, got in there untouched. Some good blocking that time. But, after the starters and the defense started kind of doing their thing, um, Aviators just really couldn't get too much things going. Hopefully, if I could get the time to also cut up highlights, I already have the highlights for these games that's going to be dropping tomorrow. But hopefully, I could get some of those highlights and stuff to play instead of just having a still image here. But again, that's all about the time if I got it. But who knows? And maybe that'll come later down during the season. 6 p.m. Eastern game on Wednesday. You got the Black Knights versus the Condors. Black Knights were able to get it done. Geno Gannon, shredding it up, doing a good job. Had a nice connection with his favorite receiver from last year, Frederick Irvin. You can see him in this picture pointing after a touchdown. Able to do the Condors pretty dirty. We also saw some good play from Corey Bain. This is a guy that you really want to, focus on for the future of the Condors. I think it's pretty much evident that this is going to be the last year for Chase McCoy, just based off of where he's at overall wise, the regression and his contract expiring. I don't think you extend that, especially for a 32-year-old who's not going to get any better. And you got a rising, user player who's looking pretty good in the preseason. And so we had a great performance too for the Black Knights with their running backs, man. Mainly OG Holman, man. Matthew Holman, he had a touchdown. It was a little check down, and I think it was from Young, and he hit a nice little juke move on 2 Condor defenders, found his way in the end zone, man. I wish I had the bell lined up. I keep forgetting the bell, guys, but bell for Holman still for making his player 25 years old as a rookie coming into the league. Now here he is, 28 years old, more than likely not even going to get a contract extension since he's not going to get better than what he is. But he's always been a dog since touching the field, man. And it's just sad to see, more than likely this is going to be his last year too, getting an opportunity. This was the best time to get an opportunity. Langford Cloud retired. The reins was given to not Matthew Holford, but Noah Walker. And you got to think Noah Walker was both of those guys were users, but in a sense, Matthew was actually more active, and OG just recently left the Discord like as of last year since he didn't reset his reloads and found himself in debt, and he already knew his player was too old. So yeah, had to call it. Probably could have made a new player though. So OG, if you're watching this later on, you're looking to try to get in the league afterwards, create a new player. You're definitely in a situation to do that due to the fact that your player is most likely just going to hit free agency, and you can retire him, and you can just make a new one and see what happens. But yeah, Black Knights getting it done, 26-17. Good victory right there for them as they improved to, I believe they're 2-0. And then we had, ooh, I got this game again. Is there a game I missed? Let me go check out because I think this is this part where I have to start manually uploading them while I'm on here just to make sure. Oh, yeah, that's what it was supposed to be. So let me replace this one. I'm supposed to go over the. There we go. This game was wild. So the Elks and the Sentinels, Elks seem to have had it in the bag, and then like in the final like 11 seconds, we had seen Benny Sinclair, like 64 overall backup quarterback, come in, bomb it up the seam on a deep on a deep coverage, and I think the Elks were playing this regular defense. They should have had just 3 high, Didn't do it, and he hit right up the seam in stride between the safety and the corner, and they were able to tie this game up at 24 apiece with those 11 seconds on the board, and it went and it would have went in overtime, but there is no overtime uh in preseason, so tie ball game, Elks and Condors. I see somebody said it's okay, so you can just miss our game. Is it CT? Is that the game I'm missing? Oh, I haven't gotten to you guys your game yet. Oh, is this right? You haven't gotten to your game yet. Euro. Yeah, I actually have to upload those two, but I definitely missed the Elks and Sentinels. Yeah. So that was great. It was a great game, man. Again, we saw a solid performance from Jacob McCall. Very excited to see how he's gonna, fit in as the franchise guy for the Elks. Can he be that dude? We'll find out. He's looked good. He's got some good receivers, got a good supporting cast. We saw even Luke Poor has been looking really good with the unit, and yeah, he almost had him with a victory in there, to improve to at least 1-1, but well, I mean 2-0, but then falls short after that last second touchdown. That was crazy. We saw a shout out to the running backs too for Sentinels, man. I think it was Jet Skyback. He had a crazy long run, very elusive. Manuel's looking really good, but OT right there. That game finishes. And we get to the Diablos and the Bulls, man. This was an old fashioned beatdown. Just a bad matchup for the Bulls. This is a team that does not have the best of offensive lines. And we know that the Diablos are the front runners right now to win, to compete and win a Reload Bowl for season 10 with Coach Forbes, and man, they just sent relentless pressure at Devin Wade and the guys. A lot of sacks, a lot of big plays, quick possessions for the Bulls. Couldn't do anything. Had some great running production from, of course, Madison Axel. He was able to find himself in the end zone, and this guy right here, Nickerson, on this specific run, hit a nasty spin move and took it all the way to the house for a long touchdown run. It just got really bad for the Bulls. 45-16 ended up being the final score there. Again, not really too many takeaways to say. Just pure domination uh, from the Diablos. I mean, just absolutely killed it in all phases of the game there, and the Bulls just had no answers at all. Looking in the chat here, he says producing cinema season 10. So now that was a game. Yeah, that was definitely a great game. I think this is the last game I have. That's yeah. So this was another beatdown. There's a couple blowouts that happened this week in the preseason, man. I was not expecting this, but honestly, it was a poor performance from Justin Jones. That's something that I don't think anybody would have expected. I mean, he took his team to the Reload Bowl last year, ultimately lost to the Condors, but I mean, Justin Jones, you rarely will ever see him have the performance in which he had against the Shamrocks in Boston. He threw 3 interceptions in the first half alone with the starters. That was pretty bad. Is that a sign that the Shamrocks are still developing and becoming that team that good? Or was it just a bad game from Justin Jones? I think it was just a really bad game. And the Shamrocks, they're not the same Shamrocks team that you can just run over and beat like that. The defense is definitely nasty. Offense is nasty. This is a really solid team, and they just demolish the uh, the Celtic Tigers, beat them by 35. That was just a mean beatdown. You got to give a shout out to this guy on the poster though. Saeed Gore was nasty. Long touchdown run. He just looks like he's unstoppable. Guys have been mentioning his name for the last 2 to 3 seasons, knowing that he was going to eventually be that guy. This year he is, and all I gotta say, any team facing the Shamrocks this year, you're gonna have to find a way to stop 39 because he is going to make it a long day for your defense. Better plug those holes. You give him any type of momentum running in between those tackles, homeboy's going to be gone. So make sure you focus in on that. But then again, you got to worry about the pass game. It's a lot you got to worry about with the Shamrocks, man. Going to be a very exciting team to watch this year. Let me go ahead and put up the next game. I got to manually, again, throw in these games due to I don't know what's going on with yeah, I don't know what's going on with the OBS at the time. So let me go back. So that was Wednesday's games. Here we are at Thursday. So next one is the Red Dragons and the Desperados. About to pull them up. Here they go. Yeah. Another blowout. Another blowout, guys. Got to see another blowout here. Really some great running. Tavion Hall still looking like a beast. First year he's hit regression. He's been a 99 overall running back for his whole career in the RFL up until now. But you know, he got a rushing touchdown. The run game was really good. Even Jakarius Best, the backup running back, I believe he had over 70 yards too receiving in this game. Marquise Washington looked pretty good, airing out, spreading out the ball too, getting to his receivers. So that was good. Really didn't get to see nothing from the offense of the Red Dragons, man. So there's just nothing that stood out for them in that matchup. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I had them as the favorites to win. Let me go back to the spreads in the main server. Uh, yeah, so bet channel, we're looking at the spreads from last week, and no, I actually chose the Desperados. So yeah, my main reason, now that I remember that, I chose the Desperados to win because I just felt like the backup quarterback situation was more in the Desperados' favor. And then to be honest, I mean Marquise Washington, even though Anthony Savoy is a really good quarterback, Marquise Washington is a dog. So you know, I just felt like Washington with Tavion Hall was going to have that edge, and they did, and they just separated in this one and got the job done, man. 34-9. Uh, Next matchup we had here is the Tigers and the Hogs. I had to stream this game live because we forgot to record it first for you guys to see. But the Tigers are a pretty interesting team, man. I think, you know, guys already were talking about it before the season. This isn't a team I don't think, well, it is creeping up. If you sleep on them, you know, you might end up losing to them. But they got a great defense. Honestly, I say the best offensive line in the league. You got a young quarterback who's a user. He's active, and you know, last year he had a turnover issue, but you know, this year he could get it together. Got his own brother on the team, Kazim Cash, as a 1-2 punch with Drake Sandstrom. I think the run game's going to look great. They got the best line to be able to pull that off. They can pass the ball. They've addressed their wide receiver issue a bit. Steve McCaskill was eating in this game. The Tigers are looking good. Their defense definitely got some pieces. Cordell Brown was smacking in this one, forced a fumble, a lot of big hits, a lot of big plays being made by them. And they're just developing on top of that. This is a young unit. And with the Hogs, we've seen Ronnie Shanahan again. You know, we do have these starting undersized quarterbacks. Shanahan 5'9" himself, kind of in the same boat with Javier Santana. And I talked about earlier with the Pioneers. And the Hogs did make a signing of Lane Kearney. We were able to sign him to the team. He came in, really couldn't get too much going there with the backups. But yeah, it looks like, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of the same thing with Ronnie Shanahan. Can he show to be the starting guy that can lead the Hogs to, you know, victory? Obviously, he's going to more than likely be that guy off the age and just probably needs more development if he does not do what he needs to do this year. But it was kind of like a setback for them last year without no elite quarterback play and had the worst passing offense in the league. Now, Shanahan did a great job of extending plays and everything with his legs, but the offense just really never clicked last year. Except for in the playoffs, they started to get a little bit going, but still the offense just really wasn't that much of a factor for opposing teams. And so, you know, it's still a good fight, 19 to 31. Tigers got the job done. Nothing really too much to say, you know, on that front, but interested to see what the Hogs are going to, you know, look like, and if Shanahan can survive his quarterback position battle as well for this season. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and go into the next game. Again, just trying to get through these real fast, just to get through the recaps, hitting the main points. Armadillos and Monarchs. Now, not really too much I could talk about with this one either. Game was played in a monsoon, whole lot of rain, man, whole lot of rain. Wasn't too much going on. Some sloppy play. You couldn't even really see what was going on. And also for the Armadillos, they sat their main guys for the most part, so they weren't expected to win this game anyway. As Roland had talked about that on his podcast beforehand. He did have Nyshawn Miller, come in. He got a rushing touchdown, which was the only touchdown for the Armadillos. But Rodney Goins, man, 2-0 in the preseason. What do we think about that, chat? Huh? Rodney out here, 2-0. I know it's the preseason, man, but hey, doing his thing. Doing his thing. And we'll see if that translates over to the regular season. But able to get the best of the Dillos, but again, didn't really get the full Dillos in this matchup, but thugged it out for a touchdown. And honestly, they were able to score last minute, like with the last minute of the game with an outside run with Jay Williams, and that's really what put the game away towards the end, as they came out on top. So not too much to say there. Uh, and we go on to the Dreadnoughts and Lumberjacks. The Dreadnoughts and Lumberjacks, man. Yeah, I ain't got the bell, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. If I had one, I had to probably give one to CC, man. CC and JoJo, the boy, yeah, they got did in a little bit in this game by these running backs. D'Amico Brewer was going crazy. This is a team. The Lumberjacks are again a very scary team. Jordan Granger set the tone last year, his rookie year, having one of the best rookie seasons, in RFL history. When you look back, obviously you got to put Geno Gannon over him for what he accomplished in Daryl Johnson. But you almost start to think, who's the next guy? It probably is Jordan Granger with the way he was able to jump up 10 overalls and ball out the way he did. But now he's got weapons to throw to. He already elevated them. Also, he's got jump ball guys. Even if he doesn't have anything, he throws it up, and that's what happened, man. A crazy bag on CC, man. And CC's there as that tall cornerback, as standing at 6'3". But it's hard to even get at CC when you got John Johnson on a jump ball, man. John Johnson's been doing this for years. He's 6'5". We saw Granger having some pressure starting to come in. He had some good time from the offensive line, and he just saw the one-on-one. Say, hey, let me throw this up to Johnson. CC was there. I mean, he played it as best as he could, but Johnson just being Johnson snagged it, got in there for the end zone for the touchdown. And then a spin off for a touchdown, long touchdown run from D'Amico Brewer, bounced off of CC on that one, and was just out, man. Hit the outside, scored. Um, and uh, and then we saw JoJo. He tried to make the tackle in at cornerback. D'Amico Brewer, man, just made the corners look bad. They used the corners look real bad in this game. Hit him with a nasty stiff arm spin move and walked his way in the end zone. So I guess those were some little shots I could throw at some user players that happened in this game. But the Lumberjacks look really good, man. They really didn't see the Dreadnoughts be able to separate themselves or really establish too much within this one. And we've heard some controversy already for this preseason going into what's going to happen during the regular season. Owen Jack, the longtime user for at least the past 3 seasons for the Dreadnoughts, going on 4. Um, this guy, Frankie's already saying it's quarterback battle. Matt Jones looking to try to take that position back. Matt Jones, he really popped on the scene for the Dreadnoughts in season 5. He was a beast of a dual threat scrambler, and the contract looks like it might be expensive to try to sign back. Owen Jack, he's a young guy who's going to cost you a decent amount. Dreadnoughts need to sign some guys back, so it's almost looking like the writing might be on the wall for Owen Jack, as if this might be his last year. He might not even get a contract extension just because of the situation they're in, and yeah, they're looking to possibly lean on Matt Jones, who's the generic. So we'll see how that plans out. I know that Matt Jones is more on the contract friendly on the friendly side of the contract for the team, very cheap, and so I think that might be the direction that the Dreadnoughts are going, man. Just looking at their situation, And we'll see how that plays out, man. And if there's possibly a home somewhere else for Owen Jack, we'll find out. Or if he can still be the guy here, we'll see. But yeah, Lumberjacks getting it done, 31-13. And we move on to the last three games. These are the last two premier games. We had Reload Bowl rematches. So the first one at 8 p.m. Eastern that we're going to recap is the Voyagers versus the Explorers. Another game that was played in some heavy rain conditions. The Explorers managed to pull out with the victory, 24-17. Brian Robinson had himself a nice, decent game. The first round draft pick rookie. We saw some good running from Bradley Atagwe for his touchdown. The Voyagers did a good job of fighting back, man. It was looking pretty bad with the starters in. But it wasn't getting out of control like too far. So the Voyagers, I just feel like they're going to be a scrappy team, just off the fact that you got a good coach in Coach Baker, man, who's going to always put the team's best foot forward and give any team that plays them a tough run for their money. And despite the losses that they had with their trades and things like that. I mean, just still pretty good showing against the Explorers, even with the first half with the starters. So they did their thing. Their defense looks actually pretty good with the young guys that they have too. So again, this was in the rain as well. So there was a lot of mistakes going on. Yeah, not really too much to go on there. Had a nice little jump ball for well, hold up. I'm thinking about the Monarchs game. There was another one. Trey Drain caught that one, so my bad. Those were the two teams that were in the same conditions with the rain and like this. Hopefully, we don't get too many rain games, guys, because I mean, it didn't look too bad. You could still see it, but hopefully, we don't get that heavy, crazy snow. Because if we get that crazy snow, then we won't even be able to stream those games. So we'd have to. Well, we'll stream it, but it'll just be a whole white screen you'll be looking at pretty much with barely any visibility, and then just photos and a recap of what the score was. That's it, just to prove that we streamed it. But yeah, nothing really too much to dive into with this game, man. Just overall, uh, it's a solid preseason game. Solid preseason game. Saw some good things from the Voyagers. Saw some great things, of course, from the Explorers. But we'll see how that looks like when the conditions are a little bit more dry. He said snow game picture is going to look clean though. Yeah, the snow game picture is going to look good, but we're not going to be able to see anything in there, unfortunately. And the other 8 p.m. Eastern game that we had was the Huskies and the Thunderbirds. Now, this was the shock of the week, which is why they made the poster. Uh, Calvin Poole playing a half against the starters of the T-Birds, and they beat him down bad, man. This is a battle of Toronto, pretty much. And because we know that T-Birds used to be from Toronto, both of these teams, Reload Bowl championship winning teams, and they played each other in season 4. And it was the Huskies who beat the Thunderbirds in that matchup. And here they are getting it back again on them in an embarrassing fashion. Uh, they just they just did their thing, man. They could do whatever they want. 3 passing touchdowns in the first half for Calvin Poole. He was just dotting them up. The run game was unstoppable. Leonidas was breaking off some crazy runs, hitting juke moves, had a long touchdown run after breaking down a defender off a juke. The offense just couldn't get going at all for the T-Birds. Their defense was starting to struggle too because I mean that tells you, in my opinion, even though maybe it was just a bad game for the T-Birds for the most part, but the Huskies are going to be a team. Uh, you always have to look out for them. But if these guys click, if Calvin Poole is more consistent this year than he was last year, it's going to be a dangerous team. They got the weapons for him. They got the defense, especially with the 2 additions they got in Cena, Anawai, and Diamond Armani. Those guys are been fitting in nicely, making plays. This Huskies team could be very, very dangerous and could be also making a push for playoffs in the Reload Bowl this year, especially if they're looking like this against a great team like the T-Birds. But they handled business, made it look easy. Not really too much I can say. There was no standout big plays really being made by the T-Birds. I mean, Q had one decent catch, but this was the Huskies all the way from start to finish. It was 34 to 10 in the first half with the starters. So that's how much that the Huskies were dominating, didn't give anything up in the second half. Backup scored 14 more points. Great showing, man. Just a great showing by the Huskies, and we'll see if that's something that can stay consistent with these guys this year. And then the last game that we had was the Chicago Cougars and the DC Marshals. It was a great game to call. Oh, man. I don't know why this came out so small. Oh, I wonder why. There's a command. Okay, I know what happened. Let me. Oh, what is this on top though? Craziness going on right now. Okay, let me go ahead and fix this. I just gotta add it here. Forgot these are two different sizes, so that's what's going on. And here we go. There it is. Yeah, defensive warfare. 1916. Man, this was heavy defense all the way. Dylan Lewis having a crazy welcome to the league moment. This is not the Big Ten anymore, homie. Uh, he's a big body quarterback for sure. Used to run through those tackles, make the plays at Ohio State, but you are not going to make those kind of plays in the RFL against these big hitters. Frederick Roper, as you can see from this photo, and this photo was so clean, we might have to blow it up full screen just to show you. But this was crazy, man. Let me see. Yeah, and look at this. Sheesh. That's a hit, man. Dylan Lewis forced the fumble. He had a nice, I hear that picture. Yeah. He had a nice looking scramble on a 3rd and long. You thought for a second, I thought for a second he might be able to get that first down. And Frederick Roper came flying out of nowhere. And I guess Lewis trying to show the toughness, saying, hey, man, I can get to that first down. I might can run through this guy. No, sir. That was not happening. He got popped quite a few times, man. There was nothing but big hits all over the field on both sides. But, man, Lewis definitely learned his lesson. Hopefully, he learned his lesson from this game. He did go on after this hit to try to scramble and got popped a few more times. But, yeah, Marshall's defense looked crazy. Vince Reed looked great. He had 48 yards off the 9 carries. You could see there. Sean Acosta was able to find the end zone. Again, we saw a pretty nice, fluid looking Leo Moon. This is the first week where he missed passes. Week 1, he was 9 for 9. So they were doing their thing. We saw some good stuff from Dylan Lewis too. He did hold on to the football quite a bit, man. And so that's just going to happen with the rookies. But when he was able to throw the ball out of his hands, on first read quickly with receiver getting open. I mean, he had some nice games, especially to Tyreek Bryant. He only had the 2 catches, and both of those catches were back to back. And the ball placement on those throws from Dylan Lewis was actually pretty good. Um, and other than that, it really wasn't much to talk about offensively from either team, man. You saw Wyatt Harris get a sack in this game, and that was late towards the end. Who else we saw rookie wise? Jack Sky had a couple plays. Uh, I've talked about Vince Reed already. Terrence Ward was looking pretty decent, but yeah, not too much to say here, man. This great defensive clash between these two squads. Marshalls were able to pull it out with the win. We saw a long 62-yard kick too from the Chicago Cougars kicker, Jerome Davis. And Jerome Davis, he's known for having the strongest leg in the league, and he showed it. He had at least about like 5 more yards, maybe even 10 of, a little bit more than that of space after he kicked the field goal from the 45-yard line. So I mean that was crazy. And yeah, big time victory there, 2-0. Coach Hodge, man, continuing that momentum from last year into the regular season. One more game for him to play, and we'll get into that, of course, when I pull up the schedule. And as for the Chicago Cougars, first loss right there for them. They were able to edge out a 3-point win themselves last year after a 3-point loss this week from the Desperados last week. So that is the recap, guys. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, there we go. That's the recap of the week 2 preseason games. Now it's time to go ahead and dive into what's coming up this week, and I'll let you guys know what the spreads are. Let me go ahead and put this there. All right. So week 3 is here, and the first game we have is the Salt Lake City Elks versus the London Black Knights. And so this is Jacob McCall going up against his former team that he was drafted to. Gets 3 quarters to go up against them. Black Knights are 2-0 in the preseason right now, looking to try to finish undefeated at 3-0 to carry on that momentum, bragging rights there against their former quarterback. And so we'll see how they'll look. But it's Geno Gannon and Jacob McCall for those 2 quarters. Excuse me, for those 3 quarters. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. I got the Black Knights, though, as the favorites to win this at home in London with 3.5 spread. Key players I'd say to look out for in this game for the Black Knights, it'll have to be, let's say, Noah Walker, man. The run game is going to be very important. He's supposed to be the future back for this organization. I want to see how he takes off and really assumes into that role. I think he's like the lowest overall starting running back in the RFL. So got to make a name for himself. Got to show that he is the guy. His time has come after the retirement of Cloud. And we'll see how he fares against that Elks defense. And of course, for the Elks, you're getting just about a full game to play against your former team, Jacob McCall. How are you going to look for 3 quarters against that Black Knights starting defense, which on paper doesn't look too good, but the Black Knights defense for the last couple of years have looked really well, really good. They could get pressure. They got a lot of young guys. It's it's the real deal. We'll see how McCall is able to handle his former team. See if he can remember some looks. Following that game on Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we got the Snowhawks and the Bisons. Yes, the Bisons get 3 live games all each week in the preseason. It's just an interesting team, man, and I just felt like the Snowhawks matchup against them is a great look to see for 3 quarters. How will they be able to match up against a powerhouse team like the Snowhawks? If these guys can hang with the Snowhawks a little bit, that shows you the drastic improvement, of this team. But we'll see. We'll see. Joseph Gitley and those guys were looking really good against the Bulldogs. I know they're 0-2 right now, but they had some tough smoke, those first couple of games. And obviously the first week, you only got your starters playing for a quarter. And last week it was kind of neck and this past week it was neck and neck with the Bulldogs, where the Snowhawks were looking pretty good and at first were on top. So with 3 quarters with that unit, we'll see how the Bisons fare. But if we're looking at the spreads that I have this week, I have the Snowhawks winning this one with a 4.5 spread. Key players to look out for here. Let's go with Pecan, man. Let's see how Pecan looks on the receiving end, starting with the Snowhawks for the first time this year. And then for the Bisons, just the overall team, man. How are these guys going to look against the Snowhawks with the majority of the game being against that starting unit? I guess the key in the player after how he did last week, Ethan Marks. See how Ethan Marks can generate pressure against this defense. Then that same day, 9 p.m. Eastern, Pecan in the booth, going to be in Pittsburgh. Got the Louisville Lumberjacks taking on the Pittsburgh Pioneers. Both of these teams 2-0 has been looking really good. I'm going with the Lumberjacks in this matchup with a 5.5 spread. I just feel like, man, Jordan Granger still looking really good, man. He's looking really good. His first 2 wins, and he did his thing. And then we got a quarterback battle going on here in Pittsburgh. It's Javier, with him starting with the starters here for the first 3 quarters. Can he try to stamp that he's the guy that needs to lead this franchise this year, or will he give Kyle Bain that opportunity if he's not looking, up to par? And more than likely, we're going to go with Javier Santana to start the season anyway, just to see how he does for all 4 quarters, but he really wants to try to make a statement in this game. So that's the key player to look out for there. And as for the Lumberjacks, I mean, their run game has looked so great. All I gotta say is look out for D'Amico Brewer and John Copey. That 1-2 punch might be one of the best dual running back groups this year. I'd say probably even top 3 or top 5 this year with the way they've looked. So look out for that. Then we get into the premier games. Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Tigers versus Aviators. I've got the Tigers winning by more than a touchdown. This, I think, is the biggest spread, if not the second biggest spread this week, as they go up against KC and the guys. And KC's 0-2, and it's just a weaker team in the league in general. So not expecting them against a tough Tigers team that I spoke on earlier to get it done, even with the home field advantage. So yeah, going with the Tigers here in this one by more than a touchdown. I want to see Kai Cash do his thing, man. That's the key player to tune into for the Tigers. Can he shred up this defense, make it look easy, put the points up on the road? And then as for the Aviators, of course, it's got to be KC going up against a really tough defense for 3 quarters, man. A really tough team in general. Can you put up some offensive production? He hasn't really been able to do too much on offense like that with the time he's been given. But we'll see if he can make a bit of an impact here in this matchup with nearly having a full game. Then at the same time, Steamers and the Sentinels. This is a pretty good matchup just due to the behind the scene things going on, man. You know, there's a little bit of animosity, some beef going on. So let's see how this preseason matchup looks. Obviously, the Steamers should be the favorites just based off of how stacked their team is. I've got the Steamers winning by a touchdown or more. And they're going to be on the road in Orlando, though. So we'll see how they fared. The Sentinels showed that, hey, we're not a team that's just going to lie down, take the L. Almost should have happened. Well, it should have happened last week, and they refused to fall in that way. Last minute touchdown, tied it up, and yeah, was able to get a tie instead of another loss during the preseason. And I just feel like the depth is really what's going to separate this team. We did see KJ Smith not look all too good though with the backup unit. Had a lot of trouble, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure who's going to be starting here for the Sentinels. I don't know if they're going to be playing DWJ or what. But if they play DWJ, they got a pretty decent shot at something, I think, to try to keep this offense afloat. If not, we're going to be more than likely looking at uh, uh, blanking on his name, Diggs. Yeah, Devin Diggs. So I think they're going to play Devin Diggs at some point. They're going to start. If he starts, man, I think this could get bad for the Sentinels, to be honest. But we'll see. We'll see if Coach Tour brings out DWJ for this game for the 3 quarters. Who to look out for? I'd say the running game, the Sentinels. How good is this running game? They look really good with what they were able to do so far. I really want to see if Damani Manuel can, help balance out this offense a little bit. And I would like to see DWJ honestly playing this game, but we'll see. And then for the Sentinels, for the Steamers, it got to be Jaden Young again, leading this offense for 3 quarters. Can he put up the points? Can he lead this team to victory early on and have his backup not have to worry about closing out? That's going to be the keys to watch from that one. 6 p.m. Eastern, you got Rodney looking to try to go uh, undefeated. I got 2-1 here, but I didn't edit. I didn't make an edit to that. But the Monarchs going up against the Huskies, and the Huskies just came off quite a showing against the T-Birds as I talked about earlier, and they got the home field advantage. I think you got to go Huskies here. It's a good little run in the preseason for Coach Goins, but against a team like the Huskies, that's a tough one. So I got the Huskies in this matchup. Where's my spreads at again? I lost it. Yeah, I got the Huskies by a touchdown or more in this one. Not really too much to say. Key player to look out for in this matchup. See Calvin Poole if he can bring that intensity again on offense. I mean, look the way he did against that T-Birds defense. That was nothing short of amazing. Can he look that great and better possibly against against the Monarchs? We'll see. And as for the Monarchs, let's see. You know, Rodney again. How does he fare against a team this good? You know, this is probably the best team he's had to see in the preseason so far. Let's see how they stack up for those 3 quarters. Then we got the Crusaders and the Bulls, 6 p.m. Eastern, along with that game. The Crusaders, I have them as favorites to win by 2 or more points. I think this will be pretty competitive. Uh, the defense, although the Bulls got blown out last week and it looked really bad, I still feel like it was more so the matchup as to why the offense looked pretty bad. I think the defense is a pretty solid group. Bulls are switching their defense to a 4-3 though in this matchup just to see what that looks like. And so that could be something, to keep an eye on as well to see how well that plays out for them. So they got Nakui Choice going from that defensive tackle position in the 3-4 now back on the edge where he used to be. And we know he was definitely a key playmaker and impact player at that position when he played. So jumping even from a 79 at D tackle to an 81. So he's primarily built to be an edge rusher. He's got great speed out there. And then they're dropping back Gabe Stringer to the linebacker position from the edge. So 3 linebackers there: Jack Brown, Chico Canetti, and of course uh, Gabe Stringer. So I mean that's quite the linebacker lineup, and we'll see how they fare against Ben Wakefield in that explosive offense. But yeah, key players to look out for. Let's say Marlon Marshall. I want to see the run game of the Crusaders and how it fares against that Bulls defense if the 4-3 is looking pretty good. And of course, for the Bulls, it's got to be their defense in general after the change. How well are they look? How well they look? They look pretty good in the 3-4 anyway. All right, so not bad. They look good in the 3-4. So if this 4-3 isn't looking all too great, just gonna revert back to that 3-4 and get it going. But you know what? I take it back. It's really the offense. We want to see what the offense is looking like because it looked really bad against the Diablos last week. And again, it's Diablos, but we need offensive production from the Brooklyn Bulls to be a factor in this matchup because the Crusaders, they're definitely going to look to try to put points up in both. And then we get to the Wednesday 8 p.m. games. The Diablos, after the big win over the Bulls, are on the road in Dublin, taking on the winless Celtic Tigers, who we know this is probably the worst year in terms of their regression over time. This has been an aging team for a minute, and they are one of the lowest rated teams now in the RFL. We saw a bad performance from Justin Jones just a week ago. 3 interceptions against the Shamrocks. And you definitely can't look like that against this defense for 3 quarters. So it's going to be interesting to see how this matchup is going to look. In the spreads, I have the Diablos by 7 or more points. And honestly, it's because of what we saw. And we'll see. We'll see if they can get that done. Colorado River is going to be running with the 1. So I think that's the key matchup, key player you want to look at for the Diablos coming into this game. And then as for the Dublin Celtic Tigers, I mean, Justin Jones, it was that performance just one of those days, hopefully it's not something that, you know, just is showing shades of what's to come, and he corrects that, especially against that defense. He's going up against one of the best defenses in the league. And so if he can avoid having that same performance against a defense like that, that more than likely tells us, hey, man, it definitely was more than likely just a bad day. So yeah, going with the Diablos there. And then the Marshals with Coach Hodge looking to go undefeated against the 0-2 Hogs in the preseason. The Hogs, again, we're looking at Shanahan. He's going to be starting all 3 quarters with the with Cincinnati. Again, trying to establish his spot for the Hogs. Is he the guy that they should use this season to try to lead this team back to the playoffs? Again, we already talked about the offensive struggles a year ago, but here's a shot. This is a real shot for them for him to try to show that I've made improvements, and I think we can make this offense a lot better. They lost their key weapon last year on offense, which was Dre Shivers. They had one of the best running games in the league, and it's the worst passing game. So can that change at home against the DC Marshals, who we've seen have a crazy defense? I mean, these guys were popping just last week. And talk about another team that had all three. Oh yeah, never mind. But I was about to say in all three live games, but this game's not live. But DC Marshals look really good on defense, offense too. So we'll see how the Hogs handle all that. Of course, the key players got to be Shanahan, as I talked about. And as for the Marshals, I want to say the key thing to look out for with them is, you know, can they stay consistent from what we saw in the preseason so far? Can the defense still be as great? Can they, bottle and pressure Shanahan, and how well will they look as a full unit, under Hodges' control to walk out of this one with the victory? And we have the Thursday game starting off the Gunners versus the Bulldogs. I'm gonna be honest here, guys. I think we all know the Bulldogs going to walk away with this one more than likely with the victory. They have the highest spread coming in this week. Probably should be higher, but in the pros you never know. So made it manageable. I think they win by more than 10 points. So they got a 10.5 spread for the Bulls to get it. The Bulldogs to get it done, and they got the home field advantage. As for the Gunners, uh, what to look out for? Let's see how Tyon does against this Bulldogs starting defense for 3 quarters. That's going to be interesting to see. And then as for the Bulldogs, um, it's key. Again, just want to see the coaching. Want to see how Bartman can bring out the dominance that should be shown in this matchup on the field. How well can he contain the Gunners and be able to execute on the offensive side of the ball. We'll see. Then we got the Dreadnoughts versus the Desperados. The Dreadnoughts 0-2 here. And just coming off a pretty tough loss to the Lumberjacks in the preseason. Again, just the preseason, looking to try to develop. You saw the Desperados get their first win, had a close game against the Cougars, could have been a 2-0 preseason team. But I'm actually going to go with the Desperados in this matchup. I think Marquise Washington is just the better quarterback. He's going to be able to lead the offense more. And of course, you got uh, Tavion Hall. So you got a pass game and a run game more than likely. So the offense should be clicking. And then defensively, they've looked really good. They kind of remind you the Black Knights, a team you can look at on paper and would say, oh, these guys are average at best, but they play way well above that and can really upset some teams as they've been doing for many years in the RFL. What to look out for? Let's look at Owen Jack. Let's look at that quarterback position battle. How's that going to go? You know, um, is he going to be able to stand out against the Desperados in this one and show, hey, I'm the guy you should go with this year. I'm the guy who should lead your organization moving forward, as I have for a couple seasons now, third season. We'll see. And for the Desperados, I want to see Marquise Washington lead this offense. And I want to see more of Rohan Boxy, man. He's starting at the slot, hasn't really been able to make too much of an impact, and that's mainly because he's a lower rated guy. Uh, but let's see if he can get a couple plays made with the pill tossed his way, and Marquise Washington on the field for 3 quarters. And we got the Barons, are 2-0 versus the 0-2 Voyagers in the preseason. Um, I got the Barons in this one. It's Bree Jackson. Didn't have the greatest showing last week. Looking for him to try to do this, have a better showing against the Voyagers. Um, and that defense, man, I think that's key to look at. I got the Barons by more than a field goal, so 3.5 spread. Uh, and as for the Voyagers, I think the key to look out for them is how well are they going to be with these losses, man? How can they compete against teams that are on an up and coming trajectory like the Barons? Uh, and can they stay in fights like they usually are? Did a good job of that last week against the Explorers. Let's see if they can do it here at home and possibly take down the Barons. Then at 6 p.m. Eastern to close with that game, the final one for Thursday at the Condors and the Armadillos. I haven't heard anything from Roland, no podcast or anything to see if he's going to do the same thing he did last week with the Monarchs and not really play his main guys. But I'm going to go with the Condors to win this one. I just feel like what we've seen in terms of backup quarterback, and then Chase McCoy playing for 3 quarters. That should be pretty interesting. But I think the better closer, if we're going to look at Nyshawn Miller compared to Corey Baines, is going to be Corey Baines. So I'm kind of main reason why I'm leaning more towards the Condors there in that matchup, and it just, in my opinion, just a slightly better team just on paper. Looking at this going into it. If not, I'm pretty sure Nyshawn Miller's going to play either backup for that last quarter, um, and I don't know, he might be playing three if Roland ain't trying to play Chumlee. So we'll see how that goes. If so, let's look at Nyshawn Miller again. Let's look how good he can perform in the playoffs. No, I mean not the playoffs, in the preseason. He's looked pretty good in the preseason so far. Not too bad. And then for the Condors, same deal. Let's go ahead and look at Corey Baines and how he finishes. I know the starter's going to be out there for the 3 quarters, but again, the future is Bain for this organization, at least from what we're seeing. How will he do on the road to close out the game for him? And we have a Reload Bowl 5 matchup with the Explorers versus the Red Dragons. Red Dragons haven't got a win yet in the preseason. Looking to at least get one before it's over. And then the Explorers just came off a win against the Voyagers. Seeing if they could get it done with their starters for 3 quarters. And I'm going to go with the Explorers in this matchup. I just feel like, again, this is still a very talented team. And so the Explorers versus the Red Dragons should be, a pretty fun game to look at. Key to look at here, I want to see, is Coach Davis going to be able to get this offense flowing a little bit more? Only 9 points last week with a half with the starters. I want to see that improve, even though it's against the even though it's against the Explorers. Just want to see more production from the unit offensively, because that is going to be key. Because they had trouble with that last year, and then they figured it out last year, and this was a tough team to beat, almost impossible to beat to a point. And they did get bested in a game against the Hogs because of their great defense. But they don't want to come out to a start like that, because they nearly had a situation where they could have missed the playoffs. So we'll see if this offense does better. And then as for the Explorers, again, it's all about the young rookies, cornerbacks out there, Wiggins and Robinson. I want to see them making plays as well. We got the Shamrocks and the Miners, 8 p.m. Eastern. Shamrocks did crazy work on the Celtic Tigers. And we already know that the defense, of course, of the Miners are very good as well. They showed that last week, too, despite their loss to the Barons. So, who do I think comes out on top of this one? I'm going to go with the Shamrocks. We're looking at quarterback comparisons. Even though it's going to be 3 quarters, I still feel like, of course, Tom Wilson's the better guy. And I think they're more likely to put more offensive points on the board than the Miners. And then when it comes to backups, Green and a comparison of him between Kurt Peterson, I'm going to lean more in favor of Green closing that out. So I'm going with the Shamrocks in this one with a 2.5 point spread. Uh, who to look out for? I want to see Saeed Gore again tear it up. Can he tear it up on the ground against this tough Miners defense? And for the Miners, I'm going to say Miles McCain. See Miles McCain get it going and show us something here for 3 quarters. Another thing too, they got a couple rookies. Let's see how their rookies they drafted too perform as well. And in the game of the week, we have the Thunderbirds and the Cougars. This is a really good matchup. Just to see for 3 quarters, Thunderbirds haven't won a game yet. They just got embarrassed. The Cougars edged out their first one. And then the second game they had, another close game, but they lost it that time. So a gritty team that's on the up and coming versus, an exciting team of the T-Birds we're looking to see, with the addition of Q and a couple other guys, Brandon Cherry, good lineman, and Caesar Davis. How are they going to fare? This is a really good matchup. Thunderbirds getting their first little live game here in the preseason, and the Cougars getting their second of the 3. And so you got some pretty good personalities in the league going at it here. It's going to be fun to watch. So I'm going to say the Thunderbirds here in this one with a 2.5 spread. I'm going to take them just because at the end of the day, the Cougars are still on an up and up. And based off what we saw in those first two games from Dylan Lewis, he's going to have some trouble, especially against a starting Thunderbirds unit. I think that pressure is going to be seeping in very fast. And, that's going to be tough for Dylan Lewis based off what we've seen so far. Uh, but we do need to see, the offensive production be more effective for the T-Birds as well. And that's something they've been struggling with for a couple of years now. So we'll see how that all pans out and then how the backups, close out the game. But I just feel like the Thunderbirds should walk out with this one, just simply off the fact of having the better talent. And so that is it for the schedule and what's to come up. And I think that's really it, man. Again, not really too much for me to talk about right now during the preseason. Other than that, we recapped it. We're about to get to the fun facts with Pat, and then I'll be asking you guys questions. Sorry I couldn't tune into the chat, guys, to see what you guys were saying while that was up, because I just got a different setup here right now. So let me see what guys were saying. I see Pat was putting in some stuff here. But yeah, it says starter sitting against me. So okay, so there it is. There goes Roland answering the question. So yeah, Armadillo's more than likely gonna get did in there. But we'll see. That gives us more to look forward to, and Nyshawn Miller for 3/4 more than likely if he's playing that. So let's see again that. So how can you download Teambuilder uniforms username? You gotta look up reload. You gotta look up which one is it? RFL. Yeah, so RFL in caps underscore 2016. So search that up in the username and team downloads, and you'll be able to see all the RFL teams ready for download there. Of course, the rosters aren't available, but the uniforms are there. Let's see what else. Shamrocks are dangerous this season. Definitely agree. RFL exclusives. Yeah, so got those out there. I guess it's time for fun facts with Pat, guys. So let's get into it. Fun facts with Pat. Go ahead and get this set up. And then we'll just leave it open for questions for you guys. Let me pull up the chat on here too. That way I can actually read you guys' comments. Said looking exhausted. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I did a lot today, man. The guys was in the chat with me today, so they already know. Yeah, bro, I'm a little bit gassed, but hey, gotta get through it, man. Gotta get through it. And solo dolo for the night on the pod, so gotta knock out the content. Gotta do it. Um, try and get this fun facts Pat stuff up here. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Let me take off the thumbnail, give y'all a little bit of extra time, I guess. There it is. All right. Oh, did I answer the question already? Oh. Well, whoever answers it first, I guess. In season 9, in the season 9 preseason, 5 teams finished 3-0. Which of those teams made the season 9 playoffs? Who was the first to say it? Dag on, man. Sorry, Pat. The first to say it was ESJ. Well, I guess because I messed up to give everybody an opportunity. Um, Eric, I mean Q, since you're in here, can you make a list of the guys who do win? Since I don't have Forbes on here with me, I'm gonna say, get a list of the guys who spoke uh, after Max said everyone got one. So after that was said, let me know. Everybody gets 500, and then Pat, I'm gonna give you 500 too for the question. But yeah, the answer to that was the Aviators and the Red Dragons. So they went undefeated and made the playoffs. So without spoiling anything, let's do question number 2 this time and not ruin it. So number two, if Kyle Bain becomes QB1 for the Pioneers, it will be the fifth RFL team he started for. Name the other four. So what are the other four teams that Kyle Bain has started for other than the Pioneers? If he starts for them. It is four teams, guys. So, oh well, yeah, Q got it. Q Pot got it. Correct answer. We were talking about this too earlier, so kind of had a heads up on that one. Thunderbirds, Elks, Desperados, and Aviators. So every team that he has played for, he's technically got a chance to start. He never started really with the Thunderbirds. He only got to play because LC3 was injured, but he won him a Reload Bowl. He got to start in the Reload Bowl. Oh, hey, there we go. And we got our last fun fact with Pat question. Went through this pretty fast. Marvin Woolfolk led the RFL in tackles for loss in season 9 with a total of 41. But who holds the record for the most TFLs in a single season? I feel like guys could hit this pretty quick. I guess that's pretty easy right now for the guys on the team with him. Looks like CP got it. Nashawn Richardson. There it is. He had 51 tackles for loss in season 8. That was a crazy year for the Steamers. They had the defensive player of the year, they had the offensive player of the year, the league MVP, Ree Wagner. I mean that was a crazy season, especially for Richardson. So Q Pop gets 500. CP gets 500, and then of course everyone who answered on that first exposed question gets 500 as well. So with that being said, that's the podcast, guys. Just over a bit of an hour. Started at a little past 8:30, and here we are. About 9 minutes at most. I'm going to spend answering questions here. So any questions you guys got for me in the chat, feel free to drop them. Let's see, guys, in league first lot Steam team. And if I don't see anything, I'll just end it, man. Yeah, those were some good questions, Pat. Not gonna lie to you, man. Just sorry about spoiling that other one. Is the season opener a week from Monday? Uh, yes, because after this week's preseason games get played, um, we're going immediately into the regular season. There's no week off. We just got to make sure that all on the weekend, as soon as week 3 ends, that we're making our cuts in the file, and we'll handle everything that like Saturday. Gonna be a lot of content though for the next podcast, so be on the lookout for that. We're of course going to recap week 3 of the preseason, but we're also going to have conference placement predictions. No, I mean division placement predictions, early reload bowl predictions, top rated players, rated. Players in the league, trying to work on that graphic and stuff like that. It's gonna be a lot more content because we're actually getting into the real deal after this season, and yeah, I can't wait. Cannot wait. Definitely should be great. Let me go ahead and put the thumbnail back up. And I still got it. There's still a couple things, man. I keep forgetting, just not having the time to really, edit up this podcast. But we're gonna get that motion background too back on there. Say, can we skip preseason week 3 and start season 9? Yeah, I know, man. Everybody's hyped, man. But we're going to just about almost get a real look at what the regular season is going to bring off the fact that we have, 3/4 of the starters playing this week. You know, he said, what free agent move has looked the best so far? Free agent move. It's hard to tell. Like, hmm. That's a trade. Free agent. I'm trying to think. That's kind of tough. That's kind of tough, and it's hard to even speak of right now, just because it's still not the regular season. So a free agent move right now, I really can't. I really can't dive into since we haven't even got to see a full game either. So I guess I can't. I just can't answer that right now. Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait a couple weeks and see what's going on. Um, Definitely was some good trades though. You know, a lot of dudes got, including your team, Mac, with Carter Delahart and stuff like that. Some good additions. You saw, of course, saw Forbes go crazy trying to win a Reload Bowl this year with the additions he got. But free agents, there's some good ones, but we got to see what type of impact they actually bring to the team once the season gets started. Season 10 opens Monday the 9th. Yep, right after the Super Bowl. So perfect timing. I didn't even plan that, but that's how it worked out. I said, which coach is entering the season on the hot seat? I'll be honest, none of them. I guess technically you could say Rodney, but honestly, I think Rodney's doing a pretty good job staying up to date on what he needs to do. Um, just want to see him continue to learn. That's all it is. Continue to learn, take this position seriously. Don't just sit there and just pick a book and then just that's it. You're not you're not properly focusing on your players. You're not, doing the abilities and training right. We'll be able to see that. So right now he's doing pretty good. He's doing pretty good. But yeah, no coach in the hot seat, mainly because Roland, had a good season last year. but yeah, Roland did a pretty good job. As long as he doesn't bust out the read option OD, you know, bro's good. But I think, read options getting used a little bit more in this Madden. So you're gonna see a little bit of that, but hopefully we don't see a heavy dose from him. But yeah, nobody's in the hot seat right now, and yeah, not gonna speak on anything else. Uh, so we have no idea where Reload Bowl will happen, but the Super Bowls and okay, let's talk about that. I'd say Barron's AI coach is on the hot seat. Yeah, I believe in Coach going. He going to do big things for the Monarchs. Yeah, we'll see. He's got a good start right now. Good start right now. 2-0. But again, he's going to see. He's going to have a really good look, a good test with what he's got against the Huskies this week after what they just did. So, but yeah, where we at? 3 minutes. So we got 3 minutes left. Any more questions you guys got for me before hang it up? It's a few AI coaches on the hot seat, I'm sure. um, yeah. So any other questions? Feel free to go ahead and put it in the chat. Let me go ahead and pull up the phone so I can see. We even got that many people in here right now left. We got a decent amount. Still 29 guys tuned in. Shout out to the guys, man. Let's get hashtag league first for the guys who are here in the chat. And I'll do something a little special, man, for the guys who are here. That says league first in the chat, kicking it with me, even though I know I had to talk a lot and be the solo dolo, man. Let's give 500 reloads to those guys. Puts league first in the chat. All right. This doesn't go to coaches though, Yankee. So I'm sorry about that. This is for players. Coaches have to earn their reloads through their team performance. And see how many guys pop up that didn't say anything after knowing they got some reloads to make. Okay. There you go. A couple guys coming out of the woodwork. Yeah, dudes be lurking, man. Dudes be lurking. Hey, man. Anybody who's like kind of new or anything here, feel free to chat and talk in the chat, man. Don't be so scared. Say I got 500 in my pocket. Yeah, I heard that. Reload. There go. Yeah, Blunt's always here. He done said it twice. Well, yeah. So I guess I'll keep it going till 10 o'clock, which is just one more minute, less than that now. As soon as it hits 10, anybody who hasn't said league first will not get it. I'll leave a comment. 2. I'll put done. So once it hits 10, anybody who comments after that, no reloads for you. Tell them, bring me my money. Dreadnoughts and Scents, no, they're not the season opener. Season opener has to go to the Reload Bowl champs, which is the Condors. And they're going up against the Elks. So that's actually a pretty decent matchup to watch. See how McCall does with his new team against the reigning champs. All right, there we go. So clock is hit 0. Done has been sent. Everyone who said league first up to that point, other than coaches, will get 500 reloads. So Q, again, if you're there to write down these guys, appreciate that. Or anybody else, maybe Pat, you can help out with that if you're around. I appreciate it. But that's it for me. It's your boy Smitty, RFL commissioner and play-by-play commentator. And week 3 is on the way, guys. I will see you guys then. I'll be dropping the highlights to all the games that took place for week 2 tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Let me go ahead and show you guys the schedule once again. I'll be posting all this up on social media. Until then, see you guys next time.